Hello, this is Maria from Stop, Listen, Think. Today is Thursday, July the 12th, 2012. An active region, 1520, just unleashed a major and long-duration eruption reaching 1.4 x 1.4 at 1649 UTC Today. Associated with this blast was a strong R3 radio blackout over Central America, a coronal mass ejection, which is now in effect as the eruption was Earth-facing position. The R3 strong radio blackout today was accompanied by an Earth-directed CME. Hampered by limited observations of the event, the Space Weather Prediction Center forecasts are now anticipating the passage of the CME around 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Standard Time, Saturday, July the 14th. The G1 minor Geomagnetic Storm actively is expected to then ensue through the rest of the day. An S1 minor solar radiation storm is now occurring, also a consequence of the flare CME. The parent active region from NOAA 1520 appears to have retained its ability to erupt, so watch out for more. I also want to include as one of the links below, Mail Online Science and Technology area. Talks about when a star turns bad. Hubble shows damage a really big solar flare can do, just as a huge sunspot turns fury gaze towards Earth. Some of the features in the article are a huge X-ray flare blast, atmosphere off into space at 300,000 miles per hour, planet's upper atmosphere boiled off by flare, and NASA says that sunspot group on Earth, AR 1520, is the biggest for some time. Strong chance of powerful solar flares over the next few days. So read the article, and it's attached below. And finally, the viruses which help cause the deaths of over 60 children in Cambodia have been analyzed through blood samples as labs work backwards to find the combinations of pathogens. Disease-causing microorganisms is to blame for the illness, which was complicated by medicines provided. The World Health Organization, in conjunction with the Cambodian Ministry of Health, has concluded, along with two doctors from France, Drs. Arnaut Teratola and Dr. Philippe Bouchy, stated that they were very confident for the reason of the epidemic. It is believed that the inappropriate use of steroids, which help to worsen the disease-causing microorganisms, the pathogens included enterovirus 71, which is known to cause neurological disease, Streptococcus suis, can cause the infections like bacteria meningitis in people who have close contact with pigs or pork products, and dengue, which can cause by mosquitoes. Since the end of April, doctors have struggled with what seemed to be like a mysterious medical mystery. At the time, the patients that were brought into the hospital, the only thing the doctors knew for sure was the children that were showing up at the hospital were dying from fevers, convulsions, encephalitis, and then lungs completely destroyed. No new cases of the condition have been confirmed since last Saturday, July the 7th. Most of the patients have come from the southern Cambodia area. So now, the new trouble for parents that face it today are the lingering questions like, not what the illness is, but now, how has the virus been circulating and by what means? And then the extent of the circulation and what the next steps are. The news report is located below. Also, one of my features tonight on the video was a recent document that was released by Homeland Security called Terrorist Interest in Using Fire as a Weapon, dated May 31st, 2012. Some of the key findings in the report are international terrorist groups and violent extremists have long shown interest in using fire as a weapon due to the low cost and limited technical expertise required, the potential for causing large-scale damage, and low risks of apprehension. Recent encouragement of use of this tactic by terrorist groups and violent extremists in propaganda propaganda material in extremist web forums is directed at Western audience and support homeland attacks. For terrorists, setting fires has several advantages over other methods of attack, including sustainability, duration of fire, and long-term effects, the potential for casualties, economic damage, and wide media coverage, and accompany physiological effects of fear and terror. Recent posts to English language violent extremist web forums have encouraged individuals in the United States to start wildfires in the homeland. The most recent edition of Al-Qaeda in Arabian Peninsula, or AQAPS, is the English language inspired magazine, provides instruction for and advocates setting fires in the United States to destroy forests and buildings and cause mass casualties, economic damage, and fear, stating that the equipment and material needed to use fire as a weapon are common and easily obtainable, making pre-operational activities difficult to detect and plot disruption and apprehension challenging for law enforcement at large-scale fires, as we've seen in recent years, also has the potential to strain homeland security and public safety resources during response and recovery efforts. Terrorists intent on using fire as a weapon may choose a target location in proximity to populated areas or infrastructure to maximize damage and casualties. If you see any terrorist behavior, suspicious activity should be reported and shared immediately. DHS and the FBI encourage recipients of this document report information concerning suspicious or criminal activity to the nearest state and local officials and to the local FBI Joint Terrorist Task Force. I want to end my video tonight with a thank you, basically, because I don't think that very many people understand where we have come from 1962 when it comes to commercial satellites. You know, you're reliant on your phone, your TV, your iPads, your computer, everything. It all comes from the very first steps taken 50 years ago. Today earmarks the milestone of the Telstar launch that was done by NASA at Cape Canaveral in Florida. And then 2 days later, it relayed the very first world's transatlantic television signal from Andover Earth Station, Maine, to Brittany, France, Telecom Center in Brittany, France. It was developed by Bell Telephone Laboratories and AT&T. The Telstar was the first active communications satellite and the very first world's commercial payload satellite in space. It not only demonstrated the feasibility of transmitting information via satellite, but it also gained experience in satellite tracking, and it studied the effects on satellite design from the Van Allen radiation belt. The satellite was spun stabilized and maintained in a desired orientation of space, powered to its onboard equipment and provided by the solar array in conjunction with a battery backup system. Although the satellite didn't last but only a few months, and it only basically relayed television signals for a brief duration, maybe 30 minutes or so, it immediately captured the imagination of the world. It provided the first images of our President Kennedy and a singer from France, along with clips of sporting events and the flag waving. And you have to just be in awe of all of this, because we take it for granted that only 50 years ago we were not even getting to see someone on the other side of the world on television, and we weren't getting to write to our friends overseas or vice versa. So thank you for taking those bold steps forward and making it the precursor to what we take for granted today. That's it, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye. Have a great night.
NHS